Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm your host Sadaf Sanover and welcome to our today's session. Let me say, in the era of pandemic, immunity is the most discussed topic right now. And during the month of Ramzan, the question arises, does fasting affect immunity system? Let's hear answer of this question from the expert of today's session. He is none other than Professor Dr. Hakim Akbar. He is a Dean Faculty of Medicine and Allied Sciences, Shahid Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto University, Larkana. Let's hear from him fasting in Ramzan and immunity.
Thank you, Sadaf. I'm thankful to Bismillah Rahman Rahim. I'm thankful to Guest Spama who gave me a chance to speak a very important topic of Ramzan, fasting and immunity. Actually, ये topic, why I selected this topic, there are a few reasons. ये था कि मैं रमज़ान के बारे में ये सुनते आ रहे थे कि इसके हेल्थ बेनिफिट्स हैं, ये है वो है, और क्योंकि जो भी चीज़ अल्लाह की तरफ से आती है तो वो उसमें हमेशा फ़ायदा ही फ़ायदा होता है। लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं मेरे जहन में ये रहता था कि कहीं रमज़ान में बंदा 16 घंटे 15 घंटे जो फास्ट करता है तो क्या वो कमज़ोर हो जाता है, और उसमें जो है वो डेफिनेटली जो कमजोरी होगी तो इम्यूनिटी कम हो जाएगी, ये होगा, ये जहन में ये चीज़ें रहती थी मेरी काफ़ी टाइम से। देन थैंक्स टू दिस लॉकडाउन, I must say thanks because I gave me a very chance to go through this important topic. I went through searched the literature and saw that whatsoever the benefits they are saying they are in the fasting, are they really existing or not? So I searched literature, again went to see different studies, and so then I came at this point that Ramzan fasting and immunity, is there any relation? Either Ramadan fasting increases immunity or decreases immunity. So that's why this is the background that I selected this topic. So before starting, there is this ayah, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyam kama kutiba alal ladzina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. So this is the ayah which is from the second para and Surah Baqarah. And this ayah was been revealed in second year of Hijrah. So this is the ayah which gave us the obligation that we should fast, and this is fasting. Ramadan fasting is one of the obligation, 5 pillars of Islam. So when we see this ayah, it has been said that oh, you have believed, decreed on you fasting as it was decreed upon those before you, and then you may become, so that the reason is that so you may become righteous or pious. So in this ayah there are very very important things that you become, because जो रोजे हैं आपके फर्ज किए गए हैं, न सिर्फ आपके फर्ज किए गए हैं बल्कि आपसे पहले वाली कौमों पर भी फर्ज किए गए थे. The reason is that you become pious. Now इस pious के बेसिस पे, राइटर्स की बेसिस पे देखते हैं कि क्या इसके कोई मेडिकल बेनिफिट होते हैं. So I will discuss these things as well as prove all these things in relation to the medical science. So what is the definition of fast in the Islam? So it is to refrain, and here the word meaning of fasting is to refrain, and it means abstaining from food, drinks, smoking, intravascular fluids, oral medication, and sexual activity from sunrise to sunset or dusk. So this is a definition. You have to refrain yourself. रुक जाओ इन सारी चीज़ों से. So इसके spiritual effects हैं, और वो spiritual effects कैसे जो है वो physically बंदे को जो है वो benefit करते हैं, as well as these physical effects, how they are coming from the fasting. So we'll discuss these things. So there are a few purposes behind everything. So why these fasting was been obligated, that that develops the quality of rightness, that's a taqwa. Training ourselves to control our desires, because we see we are having everything in front of us, but for the God, we are not eating it before the sunset. So this is the training of control. So you see, you are having a fasting for more than 14, 16, 17 hours, and everything is in front of you at the time of iftar, but you are not taking a single thing from that, because you are training yourself to control your desires on the words of God. Developing virtues and performing good deeds, definitely रमज़ान में हर एक बंदा कोशिश करता है कि अच्छे से अच्छे काम करे, और ट्रेनिंग अवर सेल्फ टू बी पेशेंट, सब्र का बड़ा इम्तहान होता है रोज़ा में. डेवलपिंग कंट्रोल ओवर अवर एंगर, क्योंकि कहते हैं कि जब आप रमज़ान में हैं तो आप कंट्रोल अपने गुस्से पे, हर चीज़ पे आपको कंट्रोल करना पड़ता है. And generate and contentment for the blessing in our lives. So these are the few religious purposes of Ramzan fasting. Now, little bit different discussion ki how these things do affect our lives. When I was listening one of the spiritual lecture from one of the good thing. So he was discussing, and he proved scientifically that how our positive behavior affect our body. So there were researches. He told that the researches that whenever we are having a positive behavior, so this positive behavior sent signals to our body, and our body will have a positive effect with these positive behaviors. So we know all the time, all the day, we are having positive things in fasting. So these fasting positive things do affect our life and make it positive in a spiritual way as well as in the health way. So these were the few spiritual or religious discussions which I think it was very important before discussion about the medical things. So we know by fasting, as we know fasting as the first ayah which shows because this fast has been been obligated to you, and it was also been obligated to the other nations before. So we know these fastings were for the Christians, for the other communities also. But we see historically what was the importance of fasting, and why medically fasting was been suggested to the people. So a history of fasting is that we know first record of human fasting for remedial purpose of disease go back to the ancient civilization of Greek. So when we see medical aspects of the fasting, so the first history which that shows is in the Greek. Socrates said, fast for 10 days at a time, and you attain and you will have will get the physical efficiency. Pythagoras fasted for 40 days before taking his examinations at University of Alexandria. So it means before going for examination, he fasted for 40 days. It was in the mind with fasting, he will have make him more active for syphilis with fasting. They used to used to advise the patients fasting for the treatment of syphilis. And a great Greek physician Hippocrates prescribed fasting during the critical periods of the disease. Our physician Ibn Sina also prescribed fasting for weeks, 3 to 5 weeks at time. So for treatment of many diseases. And there is one of the saying from the Prush that instead of use medicine, you have to better the fast a day. So these are the few backgrounds how the fasting is used for to treat different type of the diseases. So then, after seeing these things, I said, कि भाई, you should prove these things medically. So there is there are big clinics in Germany. They are having particularly experience of 70-year experience of fasting. That fasting is not a religious fasting, but they are treating as they are using fasting as a treatment. So I searched that those clinics, and I was surprised, very much surprised, to see what are the changes which do occurs in fastings, and those changes are wonderful, and they make our life very, very active and so. So then I searched that, and find out what changes do occurs when we fast. So there are different things when our fasting goes to 12 hours. So what changes do appear in our body? So because of the reducing blood sugar, there is increased growth hormone release, right? Now we know growth hormone is present in higher quantity in the growing people, but after age of 30 years, the levels of growth hormone go on reducing and decreasing, and most of the time the level of growth hormone is negligible in the blood. So, what are the benefits of growth hormone? We know growth hormone is a very essential hormone of the body, and it is helpful for the protein synthesis. It is proved to be a good factor in delaying aging, and it produces the muscle development. Because it increases the protein synthesis, so it enhance the muscle development. So now, the first thing, defense mechanism, which appears, that is a growth hormone. It appears around the 12 hours. Now, with this growth hormone, we are having, we normally we don't have growth hormone after age of 30 years, or negligible amount. But it's a good thing is after fasting that our growth hormone is increasing. And now research is coming very fast that the growth hormone is very essential for the purpose of healthy life. Now, when the time goes from 13 to 15 hours, and averagely in summer, our fasting is of around 16 hours. So, from 13 to 15 hours, what happens? The metabolism of carbohydrates. Initially, what is that? We take whatsoever. The first thing which we utilize, that is a glucose. But when person is fasting, so levels of glucose decreases, and then body have a natural capacity that they start farming the nutrition from the lipids or fats. So the first that thing starts from 13 to 15 hours. So when we know, okay, when there we are metabolism is switched towards the lipids, then we are having the increased level of products, that the ketones levels will be increased. Now we know nowadays it's very you listen everywhere, ketone diet, keto diet, keto diet. What is that keto diet? It is that the diet which is contain more and more when we take those diet that contains more and more ketone, and what ketones will do, ketones will do very wonderful things in body. Although few of the situations ketones do have a problems, especially in diabetic patients, but here the ketones plays positive role, and that I will discuss later, okay, how ketones produces changes in the body. Whenever we don't take food for 13 to 15 hours, so there is an alteration in gut microbiota. We know our gut is full of bacteria. Most of the bacteria, they are our friends. Few of them, but a few of them are our enemies. So God have maintained the balance. So whenever we are doing fastings, so what happens? The number of our friend bacteria in the gut, they increases, and a number of the bacteria which are our enemies, they decreases. And this has been proved. This has been scientifically proved. Okay, from the 13 to 15 hour when our fast will go, then there is a shift in the bacterias, and the our friendly bacteria will increase. Now, the again, our world research is around these gut microbiota. Everything nowadays they are relating to this gut, our immunity, our metabolic status, and almost everything has been associated, or they've been connected with gut microbiota. And those microbiota which are friendly to our body, they increases when we are having fasting. Then 17 hours, although 17 hours our fast will go rarely up to the 17 hours, or it can go up to 70 hours, but I am discussing the effects which are produced up to the 72 hours. So whatsoever effects come in our way up to the our fasting, so do you we will be seeing those. So when our fast goes to 17 hours, so what it will do, it will produce function, it will increase the function of immune cells. So which is today's our topic. Okay, do the fasting increase immunity? So this is a scientific proof. When our immunity, our fasting goes to the 17 hours, then that will function, increase the function of immune cells. And when the fasting will go up to 16 to 18 hours, one of the process which is called as autophagy, that starts in our body. And this is the wonderful things which do happens in our body. So I will be discussing this in detail later on. So then when the fasting goes up to 16 to 17 hours, so that will detoxify our body from the toxins. And the example is that whenever we are near to our aftari, so every people, most of the people will have some smell coming out from the breath. So what is that smell? It is the actually that has been written in the literature, that that smell is of the toxins which are been removed from the body. So body get detoxified when our fasting goes up to the 17 years. After 16 to 17 hours, the inflammatory compounds which are present in the body, every time they are been removed from the body. CRP level is reduced, and after that, the liver fat deposition, wherever in the conditions like a fatty liver are also, so that level of liver fat go on reducing. So these are the things which are been produced up to the 17 hours. When our fasting goes up to 24 hours, which is not case in our Ramzan, but if it is the therapeutic fasting, then the wonderful thing which do occurs after 24 hours, that is the increased stem cell production. So this start from the 24 hours, but in some cases it do occur little earlier. So we know our body is having a regeneration capacity. So stem cells are the cells which regenerate our body. And the first cells which start regenerate in the fastings, that is the gut cells, because we know the gut is working throughout the day and night. So their cells are become aged and then old, and so the when we fast, these gut cells will regenerate. So we know when our gut cells regenerate, so that means our body will have a very good intestine for the absorption, digestion and absorption of the foods. It has been also found after the 24 or 20 to 24 hours, there is increased level of brain derived nutritive factor after after when persons having fasting of 24 hours. So what this compound do? This compound is having a capacity, it regenerates in neurons. Although it has been common that neurons do not regenerate, but nowadays the theories are coming that brain cells or neurons are capable to be regenerated, and this BDNF is one of the compound which is responsible for regeneration of neurons. There will be increased level of serotonin, and there will be a increased level of CRP, a reduced level of CRP, as well as after the 20 to 24 hours, level of blood pressure go on reducing. When fast goes to 36 to 48 hours, that will increase the weight loss, increase fatty utilization. When there's an increased fatty utilization, definitely there will be ketone bodies will be increased, and GABA production will be increased, as well as there will be increase in the brain type neuropeptide BNDF. These things will increase, and when the fast goes to the 72 hours, so that will give stimulus to all the stem cells of the body, and when all the stem cells of the body will work, then there will be body repair and stop the process of aging. So these are the scientific evidences which support that what happens hour by hour or in the when person is having a fast. So this is same graphic wise. So there were few experiments. So there has been performed. Professor Child, he was from the University of Chicago. He performed experience. He put he took a few of the earth forms, and he what he did, he put those earth forms on fasting. So what happened? Because of fasting, their size was reduced. Size of earthworms were reduced, and after that, he refeed those earthworms. So what he found in the experiment that the newer those earthworms which were having a reduced size, they are now growing very healthy, and they had a normal size after the refeeding. So it means during the period of fasting, the body started having chemical reactions. So all the toxins of those worms were removed, and when patient again those earthworms become very healthy and young. Same experience was performed by Dr. Colson, Department of Physiology. What he did, he put a 40-year-old male for 14-day fast, intermittent fasting, and at the end of 14 days, what he found, his tissues was physiologically of age of over 17 years. So it means although he was 40 years, he was been fast, and after 14 years, 14 days, he found his tissues was physiologically very young, and those were of 17 years. So that is again evidence that fasting reduces the aging process, or it reverses the aging process, which is coming saying कि भाई जो उम्र गुजर जाती तो वापस नहीं आती. लेकिन now these experiences are showing if you are having doing the fasting, you can have regeneration, and your age may reduce with proper fasting, and so these are the few experiences I wanted to share with you. So, how fasting improves the immunity? I told you different things. Okay, I will be discussing in next slide regarding the autophagy also. So, it do this, but or it reduces the over reaction. For example, when persons are having autoimmune diseases, thyroiditis, arthritis, lupus, inflammatory disease, type 1 diabetes. So these affects these diseases in which their immunity is over. So fasting suppresses these diseases. So it has been now scientifically proved that most of the autoimmune diseases, they are been suppressed during fasting. There are few under immune reaction conditions like cancers, hepatitis, HIV, so and so. So these diseases are because of what fasting do, that balances this system. So by balancing this system, that will having cure or suppressive effects on these diseases. So yeah, one thing that fasting for 3 days can regenerate your entire immune system. So these are again scientifically proved. If somebody fasts for 3 days, that kick starts stem cells, as I told you before, and these stem cells will form new WBCs, which fight against infections, as well as there are different other things which do occur in the fastings, which are boost our immune system. And when our immune system is boosted, then that will be helpful for treating even very serious conditions like cancers. I will be telling you in few slides more. So it has been scientifically proved, okay, with fasting there is a upregulation of a lot of proteomics in the body. So what are those things which are upregulated in the body when there is a fasting? So increase anti-cancer proteome. So this is a group of proteins or compounds. When they are increased in the body, so they fight against the cancers. So important thing, if you fast, then this is one of the treatment. It increased the circadian clock. It increased DNA repair. So we know our DNA Delhi is having a meaning and effects back there. They are been damaged and then they're repaired. So this process go on. Whenever there is a problem in the repair of the DNA, then a lot of conditions do develops in the persons, including cancers. So fasting that will increase the DNA repair and prevents us from development of a lot of very dangerous condition. Fasting increase insulin signaling, and we know insulin is a very important hormone, and because of this alteration in insulin signaling, people do develop diabetes mellitus and a lot of other metabolic syndromes. So with this proper fasting, people do have this insulin proper insulin signaling. Fasting includes cytoskeleton remodeling. And with this, what happens when this remodeling do occurs? So this will help our WBCs, our neutrophils, our monocytes. So have a good property of chemotaxis, and so they will be having a good power to fight against bacteria also. It increases the immune system by regenerating the new cells from the blood, and eating up of autophagy of older cells. So that will boost of our immunity. It includes glucose and lipid metabolism by doing this fasting, and that will, whenever one of the glucose is having a one capacity, when the level of glucose is increased, that will suppress our immune system. So when sugar metabolism increase, then definitely our immune system will have a positive effects. Important thing is that it increase the cognitive function. Very very important thing. It increase the cognitive function. How? Because I told you before, after the fasting, we know there is release of BDNF compound, which is having capacity to regenerate the neurons. So, 30-day fast, intermittent fasting from dawn to dusk can be preventive and therapeutic approach in cancer. As I told you, it can increase the cancer proteomes, as well as several metabolic, inflammatory, and immune diseases. As I discussed, it is one of the treatment option for the diabetes, as well as for the fatty liver disease, metabolic syndromes also. And these and it has also been helpful for the Alzheimer's and neuropsychiatric disorders discussed already. And it can be protective against carcinogenesis, because we know it increases the DNA repair. Obesity, uh, obesity, it do not affect obesity only in a way that we are taking less food. But when we take the less food, so our body will have produced lot of proteins, and those proteins will having effects over the reducing the obesity. Diabetes, metabolic syndrome, inflammations, coordinate functions, and mental health all can be done with 30-day intermittent fasting. So you will be seeing wonderful things when one is fasting for 30 days. How the this fasting improves immunity. So immunity, fasting helps regulating the hemopiesis. When there is a person is feeding, so there's an increased level of insulin-like growth factor and a protein kinase A. So when these are the proteins, they do to protein A, they will reduce the formation of WBCs and new formation. And when the person is fasting, so there will be reduced level of IGF-1, protein kinase A. So these will give rise to the increased lineage of balance formation of the blood cells, which could give rise to the, which could boost our immune system. So when person is fasting, there will be reduced level of insulin-like growth factor 1 and the protein kinases. And when person is feeding, so there will be increased level. When there's increased level, so that will cause less formation of our immune system. So this is way how our fasting boost our immune system. So again, dietary restriction and fasting arrests B cell and T cell development and increase mature B cell and T cell number in bone marrow. And we know that when these things do occur, that will again boost our immune system. So word is used autophagy. So what is the autophagy and what is the importance of autophagy? Auto means self and phagy means eating. So eating of self things. So what happens in our body, there are tissues which become older and older, and they are been taken up by our own body cells. So what is the importance of this? Importance of this autophagy is that when our damaged cells are been taken up by our own cells, so those damaged cells, when they remain in the body, they do produce lot of other reactions. Even though they are damaged, but they do produce many of the reactions of body, which become against our body. But thanks to this process of autophagy, and this autophagy, what is doing, what, for example, if our immune system cells become old, so our lysosomes take these cells out. Our neutrophils take those older immune cells and then replenish the newer cells. So with doing this, our immune system will be boosted. So this autophagy is a very, very important component. I think is a game changer in fasting. Nowadays, research has been conducted on this topic, that is autophagy. Autophagy are either is a micro autophagy, macro autophagy. Means micro autophagy when it's taking very small minute chemicals, and macro autophagy means it will take larger molecules. So with this, lot of changes do occur in the body. Like in the slide you see autophagy, what is the fasting, intermittent fasting, low caloric diet will increase the levels of AMPK enzymes and the reduced level of mTOR. And now these two processes will having a lot of effects in insulin signaling, cancer signaling, other things. So autophagy, what happens? These defective damaged cell parts, intracellular pathogens, misfolded proteins, they are all been taken up in the body, and they are been taken out from the body, So with this process, what happens is we will body will provide with newer cells, and these newer cells will help to modify our immunity, and that will be having a positive effects in the body. And you see a lot of conditions here when autophagy do happens, so that will take up all these things. So now, after all the discussion, we know there is a strong correlation between the intermittent fasting of Ramadan and immunity. You all will be aware of all these mechanisms which are happening in the fasting. So, along with this, in the this Ramadan, we can boost our immunity by other means also. We can have a balanced diet which contains lean proteins, healthy carbohydrates means less carbohydrates, good fats that are omega-3 fats. If you increase our diet like this again boost our immunity. We have to wash hands nowadays in the this corona situation. We have to wash our hands frequently. So by washing these hands, we do have positive effects over the immunity. We have to take adequate sleep, at least 7 hours of sleep. That now the research has been research has proved that good sleep boost our immune system. So we should have a proper sleep. We should have a proper exercise 30 minutes a day that boost our immunity, and we should have a proper hydration. Although we are been fasting for the day, but when we are having iftar, we should take a good amount of the fluids so that our body should have a proper hydration. So in conclusion, what fastings do? Fasting promotes detoxification of the body, as I told you. It rests and repairs the digestive system by many ways by the stem cells. It resolves the inflammatory response, as the evidence is that it reduces the level of CRP, reduces blood sugar, corrects high blood pressure, increase fat breakdown, which will help in the management of the obesity, promote weight loss, promote healthy diet, boost immunity. Lot of now evidences are there. It boosts immunity. It prevents cancers, and it may help to overcome the addictions. This. So after all the discussion, I can say, if if you want to live for 150 years, you have to do two things. Half of the time you fast, and half of the time you walk. So these are the key message for the long and healthy life. Thank you very much. Sadaf, is over to you now.
Uh, Thank you so much, sir. This was a very informative session. Fasting के बारे में हम लोग सब जानते हैं religious point of view से, but knowing the scientific view of fasting is very important for nowadays जो हमारी इस वक्त situation हो रही है. And we have a lot of questions with us. I'll be asking few of them जो कि related हैं sir जो current
Yeah,
situation इस वक्त हो रही है.
बिल्कुल.
So right now in the era of pandemic, immunity के लिए जिस तरह से बहुत सारी discussions चल रही हैं. One of the question asked by our viewer: Can energy drink and juices that proclaim for immunity boost be used? Do they really work against the COVID immunity boosting?
Thank you. It's a very good question. I tell you, these artificial things, energy drinks, all these artificial things, they don't have any role in boosting immunity. I will advise that if you take natural things like plenty of citrus fruits, we take a lot of vitamin D, we take proper sun exposure, then that will be good for the energy boost. These artificial things, they are having a lot of side effects. These compounds are having high level of sugars in that. So we know when there is a high level of sugars in these energy drinks and so they will suppress our immunity. So better is that we should take natural things to boost our immunity. And better out of these two things, is that we take proper good amount of vitamin C in citrus fruits. We take good amount of vitamin D by medication, as well as we are provided with a very good sunshine. We have to have a good exposure to sunshine. So these are the good boosters for our immunity rather than energy drinks also.
Okay. So one of questions by viewer is also related to this immunity. Are there any immunity shots that can be used during this Ramzan or during the other period, and how frequently we get them?
I think listening this lecture, God have provided with us a very, very good dedicated system of boosting immunity. So मैं नहीं समझता कि किसी कोई इम्यून बूस्ट की जरूरत पड़ेगी अगर आप if you are having a proper fasting and having a good diet, good sleep. So I don't think a person will need any immune boost in Ramzan also. जी.
Sir, another question arises is that कि वो patients जो कि already different diseases के साथ हैं like diabetes or cardiac issues, and they are obligated not to do fast during Ramzan, but after knowing so much benefits of fasting, does they attempt for health benefits?
This is again a very good question. Now, thing is that Islam have given us a permission to those persons who are sick from ayah 30 183 to 187, this all for the Ramadan and fasting. So there is a thing that if you are ill, then you may not fast. So we are having a permission from God that if you are ill, illness of that purpose, if you fast, then our illness may worsens, then we can have we can may not fast. But keeping in mind the health benefits, especially I'll advise diabetic patients who are not on especially on insulin. Nowadays studies are there you can fast on insulin, but if especially on safe side, those are not on the fast, they are having a very, very good opportunity in the Ramzan to have a fast and boost their immunity as well as boost their body, regenerate their body with the benefit of this fasting. Regarding the cardiac diseases, if they are having end stage cardiac failure, I think those patients may not be able to have a fasting for the 16 to 18 hours. So they are having a relaxation from the God, Allah also. So those patients may not try the fasting, but we're having a stable cardiovascular diseases. Again, fasting is a very wonderful treatment for the cardiovascular disease also.
Okay. One more question related to the COVID-19. वो patients जो कि asymptomatic हैं, but their results are positive regarding coronavirus, do they can do fast or not?
Oh, it's again a very good question. It's again a very good question. Now, here it is one of the tricky thing because COVID-19 is a very new to us, and day by day, hour by hour, we are receiving new researches in the that COVID-19. Now, the latest theory which is coming is the endothelial damage and micro thromboembolic phenomena in the COVID-19 patients. Now we don't know who patients are developing this microembolic phenomena also, and we know dehydration is having effect to boost that thromboembolic phenomena. So that could be one reason that patient who are having COVID positive, they avoid fasting. Otherwise, there's no other reason that a COVID patient don't fast. If they are fast, they do have a good immunity during the Ramzan. But those patients of COVID positive, if they do iftar, then I will advise them to take a lot of fluids during the night, and so that they can have a proper hydration and a prevention of the micro thromboembolic phenomena in the body.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. These were our questions जो कि बहुत important थे इस वक्त जो situation चल रही है COVID-19 and everyone is isolated and at their home maintaining the social distance. What will be your last message for our audience?
हाँ, इट्स वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट। मैं इस प्रोग्राम के निस्बत से अपने जो है वो पाकिस्तानियों से या दुनिया भर के सब इंसानों से ये रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा, क्योंकि दिस इज अ वेरी क्रिटिकल एरा फॉर ह्यूमन काइंड एंड because over a period of over a century, human being have not experienced such a worst condition in their life. So with this very critical condition, we had to be patient. Being a patient without being patient, there's no other solution for us. हमें सब्र करना है, हमें शुक्र करना है, और हमें जो है वो जो इंस्ट्रक्शंस हैं, एसओपीज हैं हमारे गवर्नमेंट की, जो हमारे जो डॉक्टर्स की जो एसओपीज हैं, उस पर प्रॉपर नमूने से हमें अमल करना चाहिए। सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग करनी चाहिए। हमें जो है वो जब भी हमें एक प्रॉपर जो है वो फेस मास्क लगानी चाहिए, प्रॉपर हैंड वॉशिंग करनी चाहिए। एवरी टाइम वी हैव टू वॉश विद सोप। नॉट नेसेसरी कि हमारे पास महंगे महंगे सैनिटाइजर हो। ये सिंपल हमारा सोप, जो भी सोप है, दैट इज इक्वली इफेक्टिव इन रिमूविंग द बैक्टीरिया फ्रॉम हैंड। और ये चीज़ें हमें ज़रूर करनी चाहिए, क्योंकि अगर हमें अपने इंसानों को, अब खुद को, अपने घर वालों को बचाना है, तो द बेस्ट वे इज टू बी वेरी केयरफुल इन दिस era of COVID-19.
Thank you so much, sir. Hope there are so many queries which are resolved by your discussion. And I must say it was very informative, and it will encourage people to fast in Ramzan and boost their immunity. Thank you so much, sir.
थैंक यू। और मैंने जो आखिर में लफ्ज कहा ना कि अगर आपको 150 साल जिंदा रहना है तो दो काम करें, आधी जिंदगी रोजा रखें और आधी जिंदगी वॉक करते रहें, तो आप 150 साल से ज्यादा जिंदा रहेंगे इंशाल्लाह। थैंक यू।
Okay, thank you.